Hello, welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbao, and let's start off with some boxing because former IBF welterweight world champion Joshua Clottey has bemoaned the work ethic of some young boxers in the country, fearing it might jeopardize the future of the sport in the nation. Clottey, who held the IBF welterweight title between 2008 and 2009, claims many of the boxers have turned attention to womanizing rather than investing in their skill and career. A situation he believes will further dampen the prospect of the sport, which is already suffering from neglect by government. He was speaking to Adom TV's Mavis Avignon in a yet-to-be-aired episode of Agokense in Como.
Everybody knows, we all know, this has been very long time. Kasawe Asemno say government on thinking about that sport. Any boxing, no on winning medals. No. Blasters omuko World Cup. Omu ya adie, but omu ba fear first round. So end of the day, no, as a government no be shifting the attention ka cloud boxing. Maybe a beboa. But as see no boxing future no meaning.
The Ghana boxing has no future.
No.
Any future here for now.
Maybe future. If someone can say future, no future no. Maybe future.
That is enormous son.
Maybe let's say for example like this badge, they finish another badge, they finish. Maybe we have a future. Maybe this badge, if they are serious, but this badge, they are all spending their time with girls. That's what I'm saying. You know, I know what I'm talking about. You know, some people might don't like it because I am just digging their problem. By the end of the day, it's the fact. They are all with women in their rooms. I don't believe in those things. Our time, you be fire with car to Mala Joshi. You be journey from Mala Joshi to airport. That time no more M1 no. You be journey from Mala Joshi to airport. You training.
Wow.
And yet like these boys do not move to me yet training. No? Maybe future or by minimum.
Well, so that's an interview with Mavis Avignon, and the full interview is going to be aired on Adom TV on Sunday with Mavis Avignon, the fire lady, on Agokense in Como, so make a date. But he raised quite some pertinent issues in that interview relative to the work ethic of some young boxers and even the uncertainty about the future of boxing in the country with reference to the work ethic of these young boxers. Well, my colleague Nathaniel Lato joins me via Zoom. He's been following the boxing industry in Ghana very closely, and he will have a bit more insight into what he's saying. Nat, you heard him in that interview. I mean, is this something you agree with? Does it align with your assessment of the current state of the industry?
Musbao, I agree with him 300%, and I'll tell you why. Now, Joshua Clottey fought against Zabjuda. He defeated Zabjuda to win the IBF welterweight title. Now, I do remember very well that Zabjuda granted an interview about Floyd Mayweather Jr. and fighting against him. Zabjuda speaks about Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s work ethic. His work ethic. Now, I'm sure that everybody focuses on Floyd's flamboyance, you know, the display of wealth. You know, speaking about his jewelry, his cars, and the money he has. And sometimes people think he's too wealthy. But when we look at the sport that has made him, it is because of a certain regime of discipline. I'm going to come to our Ghanaian legends in a little bit. But let me focus on Floyd Mayweather Jr. because in the recent era, he is the standard in terms of achievement because he did 50-51-0. And that is a record which is held by the likes of Rocky Marciano, the Brockton blockbuster. Now, I speak about Floyd Mayweather Jr. because after making so much money, after controlling so much wealth, after getting to the highest height of popularity, this man still leaves a strip club which he owns and goes straight to the gym at 5 a.m. in the morning. How many sportsmen and women are able to do that? Ask yourself, Musbao. So there are standards or there are platforms for measurement. And these platforms for measurement are there for all of us to see. In recent days, we've seen, this Ghanaian-born, UK-based boxer who has hit the internet and is looking like a Mike Tyson, protege, okay? Now, Freezy McBones is in the news because he's diminutive in terms of his physique and he's fighting like Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
But he has a certain work ethic. It is because he sat back and studied the fight style of Mike Tyson. Whether or not he's able to perfect it, that will be for posterity to judge. But the most important thing here is that young boxers of today have the names, they have the faces, but unfortunately, they are not using them to their advantage. Look, I am privileged to have covered the training camps of Azuma Zumzu Nelson. I'm privileged to have covered the training camp of Joshua Clottey himself. And I'm privileged to have covered the training camp of the likes of, Ike Bazooka Clottey. And I'll tell you something for free. These guys train like, excuse my language, mad people. They train like mad people. I remember very well that in one instance where I was covering Ike Bazooka Clottey's training camp ahead of one of his fights during his world-acclaimed comeback. Look, I mean, it was like putting your skin under the hardest of conditions and killing yourself to the letter so that you can get yourself in that frame of mind and in that particular level of conditioning so that you can deliver on the night. So it is true. But you see, there are some factors that are leading to all of this.
Yeah.
So these boxers get into a national team, are in non-residential training at the Accra Stadium or another venue. Once training camp, a daily camp is dismissed, they get back home. They eat what they want to eat, drink what they want to eat, probably smoke what they want to smoke, and go and hang out with whoever they want to hang out with. But in the other places where they see the sport of boxing as a platinum mine, and they see the sport of boxing as a sport of priority, they would house these boxers and make sure that they monitor whatever it is that they're doing in terms of their training. Because if you don't monitor, you're not able to measure the level of efficiency of the training that you're handing over to these boxers. So after that, these boxers go into the professional, they go into the amateur ranks, get a few tournaments. Those who are able to go to the Olympics, go to the Olympics, they return, and then after that, they go professional. And then when they go professional, the floodgates then are open, and they practice all sorts of vices that you cannot describe. But and this is somebody, you see, just before we wrap it up, Musbao.
Yeah.
Joshua Clottey, mind you, is not exactly your everyday social animal. He likes to spend a lot of time from Jamestown, where he comes from, and he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, I have had the privilege of covering the sport, following the national team, following these boxers, and I am also a Ghana man. This is never to cast any dirt on my people, but the young men who are practicing this sport and the young men who say that they are aspiring to greatness are starting on a wrong footing because they are just not doing the right things. And whatever you heard in that interview is very, very true. And if it's not addressed properly, it becomes a problem.
Yeah, that's my next question. How do we address this? Because, at this point, if it has become such a big issue, it needs to be addressed as soon as possible because, boxing, just like he said in the interview, is the one that has brought Ghana quite a lot of honors. And we need to protect it. We need to find a way to address some of these vices that you just referred to. How do we address it? Does it have to be the Ghana Boxing Authority?
Musbao, you do realize that I'm smiling. I'm smiling because we have to state it very clearly that boxing is Ghana's most successful sport internationally, without any stretch of doubt. Because when you get on the stage of the Olympic Games, on all 4 occasions that Ghana won the medals, the 4 Olympic medals, from Ike Clottey Sr., from Eddie Blake, from Prince Amate, and then the youngster Samuel Teji. On all of those occasions, boxing saved Ghana's face at the Olympics because we did not win anything else anywhere. Let's put that aside and let's talk about what could be the remedy. Now, it's 2 ways. Now, you're looking at the amateur ranks. For the amateur ranks, there are bigger, opportunities for controls, okay? For controls and ensuring standards, because they haven't gotten professional yet. They are not fighting for their own money. They are fighting within a system and under a national team. So their handlers are able to draw certain training regimen that they go by very strictly. Away from that as well, in the professional ranks, a lot of the managers and promoters take their boxers out of this jurisdiction and send them abroad, especially to the United States of America. Let me use one example. We all do remember Basti Samer of the Black Bombers fame, who captained the Black Bombers to the 2008 edition of the Olympic Games in Beijing, China.
Yeah.
Now, Basti Samer went into history as the first boxer to give Buko Banku, a highly rated light heavyweight and cruiserweight, contender, his first defeat in his career.
Yeah.
Now, at a certain point in his career, he was taken out of here and was sent to the United States of America because he needed to get that training, he needed to get that environment that was going to be sound and was going to be devoid of all the distractions so he could focus. And we saw the records. Go into Basti Samer's record now, and you realize that his first 10 to 12 fights were all clean. He recorded knockouts in them because he had come fresh from the amateur ranks, had gone through the African Championships, had fought at the IBA level, and had gone to the Olympics as well. And because of that, he had gained massive experience and was coming in with a lot of fire, a lot of inspiration, and a lot of hunger to succeed. So he went 10 straight knockouts. And when you're talking 10 straight knockouts in anybody's career, you're referring to the likes of Azuma Zumzum Nelson. And so it is up to the promoters and the managers to stamp their foot and take these boxers out of the environments that give them the kind of stimulus that is likely to get them to be indisciplined. It's as simple as that.
Well, now,
for the amateur ranks, it is very simple. Let's just make sure that we fund our national teams properly, we give them the needed resources, and make sure that these boxers are training under a measurable system and a system that can be monitored. Otherwise, we've lost the plot.
Well, Nat, we appreciate your time, as always, and that's Nathaniel Ato, my colleague, boxing expert, followed the boxing industry very closely over the almost a decade now. He's been in that industry. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back. We have more for you here on Prime Sports. Welcome back to football now. And President of the Ghana Football Association, Kete Kreku, says he believes the current crop of players in the Black Stars have what it takes to end the country's trophy drought. Speaking to Super Sports, he called for the protection of the team and incessant support of the Ghanaian public to ensure the team continue to perform at its very best.
Let's go back to where we took the team. Let's look at the intangible assets in the squad. Let's look at the timing to prepare to get us into a winning team. Obviously, AFCON in Cameroon was a big disaster. It was a big disaster because obviously we didn't have the kind of players, the kind of organization, the kind of mindset that one would need for us to be conquerors of Africa. But that was the beginning of the process of rebuilding a good team for Ghana. Beyond the AFCON, we took all the criticisms in good faith, which was very, very expected. We started the process of rebuilding the squad, bringing in new personnel on all fronts. So you can see clearly that the team that represented Ghana at the AFCON and the team of today looks quite different. Okay, we eventually made it to the World Cup against all odds. At the World Cup, we had some interesting performances from the squad. Again, we having in mind that the process of building a winning team takes time. The team didn't go beyond the group stage. Ghanaians were unhappy, and I appreciate that because we believe that we have to be at the very apex of the game at all times. But that served as a motivation to all of us on the executive committee to continue with the rebuilding strategy, to continue to find the right people, again, the right players to fix the puzzle and to ensure that slowly but surely we have a winning team. Preparing a winning team takes time. I would repeat this at all times, but we are in a very, very good and healthy way. We have an amazing group of players who are very much ready and prepared to die and work their socks off for Mother Ghana. The Tenkara team, currently led by Chris Yotin, is a very competent one. I think that their quality is never in doubt. And given the amount of support the Football Association is offering, given the kind of support the government of Ghana are offering, and given the enthusiasm that Ghanaians have offered this team, I think the team is in the right way. We have to protect the team, we have to guide the team, we have to support the Tenkara team, and I believe that the big trophies that the sitting president have always clamored for, the big trophies that Ghanaians have always clamored for, will soon be on our shelves.